Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Glad you could be here with me today. I've got a book haul for you today, and not just any book haul. This is a Kindle book haul. Yes, I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. I have been wanting to update you on the many books that I have gotten on my Kindle. And as you know, I may have mentioned in previous videos, I try to keep a lot of my larger series on my Kindle so that they're not taking up bookshelf space, and other books as well that I'm thinking I really don't need to own physical copies of. So I do probably have a lot more books on my Kindle than I actually have on my bookshelf. But yes, so I've added some more, and here they are. We're just going to get right down to it. And don't forget to subscribe and like and all that fun stuff if you want to keep seeing my content. So here we go. Ready? I hope so. We're going to start with Bloody Rose by Nicholas Ames. This is the sequel to Kings of the Wild, which is actually a wildly popular book, which I still have not read. But I found Bloody Rose on sale, and I'm like, well, I've heard so many good things about Kings of the Wild. I have a feeling I'm probably gonna like it. You know, I like rock music. I like '80s hair bands. I like all those kinds of themes. So I figured, well, I'll probably dig it. So so I went ahead and got Bloody Rose 2, and I think he's coming out with a third book, but I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. But I'm very, very excited to start reading this series. The second book is Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is, of course, the second book in the Witcher series. I've read The Last Wish. I did a review for it in the past, and I will link it below in the description, and I'll tag it at the end of the video in the clips at the end so that you can click and watch that video if you want to. But really like The Last Witch. It's a really fantastic book, and I'm looking forward to reading Sword of Destiny, especially because I kind of got to be prepared for season 2 of The Witcher whenever that comes out on Netflix. So I want to read the book and possibly Blood of Elves too before I watch the show. So yep, there we go. And the third book is Wizard and Glass by Stephen King. This is book number 4 in the Dark Tower series. I'm slowly reading through this series. I had hoped to finish it last year, and I didn't, so I'm really hoping I can finish the Dark Tower series this year. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself, mind you, but I'm going to do my very best to get it done. So look for more reviews for the Dark Tower book soon, and starting with Wizard and Glass as soon as I've read it. The next one is Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. Now, I don't really know a whole lot about Matthew Ward. I saw an interview with him shortly after the book came out. The book has been getting a lot of press, and it sounded pretty cool. It sounded right up my alley, and especially after watching the interview, I'm like, yeah, I might have to check that book out. So, like I said, I don't know anything about it other than the blurb sounds cool. So, stay tuned for more on Legacy of Ash. And number 5 is actually a quartet of books. I think it's a quartet. Yeah. The Signs of the Black Lotus series by J.C. King. I am friends with J.C. King. I've known him for quite a while. And I read the first book in his Songs of Insurrection series. I have not gotten to it since. I have not finished that series, but I found the Signs of the Black Lotus on sale for the whole series. So I'm like, oh, I gotta grab that because I really liked his first book, and I do plan to read the rest of the books as well. So JC is a self-published author, and he writes some really great content. If his first book is anything to go by, I have no doubt the rest of the books will be amazing. So there we go. Number 6 is Dawnshard. This is a novella set between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I already read this book back in November. I did a review for it as well as a review for Rhythm of War, which is also on this list. Rhythm of War is number 7. And I have read both of those books already, but those were some of the ones that I've collected on my Kindle since the last time I did a Kindle book haul. So excellent, excellent books. You can check out my reviews for those if you want to as well. So don't hesitate to look into those videos further. I won't go into much details here because I want to get through this. Number 8 is the first book in the Emaneska series by Bengali called The Written. I don't know a whole lot about Bengali. I got one of his other books a long time ago. I still have not read it, but I've heard really good things about the Emaneska series. So I'm looking forward to starting that at some point and checking out what he's got to offer. Number 9 is another book that I don't know a whole lot about. I've heard some really good reviews on it, and that would be The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, I think it is. You'll see the picture right up here, and I'm looking forward to reading this at some point. Of course, I wouldn't have bought it on my Kindle if I didn't plan on reading it right, but you'll hear more on that from me in the future, hopefully. Number 10 is the first book in an older series by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, who you may know from the Dungeons and Dragons novels. They are the writers of many of the original Dragonlance novels that kind of inspired Dungeons and Dragons or were inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not exactly sure which way that goes, but it's called The Dragons of Autumn Twilight, and I've always heard it's a fantastic book, so I figured I would snag it. It was on sale. I'm like, why not? I'm a sucker for a good sale, especially when it's on Kindle. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm starting to think maybe I do have more of a problem. Is it hot in here, or is it just me? Yeah, anyway. Number 11 is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is the first book in the Greenbone saga. It's been on my TBR for a long time. I found it on sale and I decided I better snatch up that book because I want to read it soon. Like, I really want to read it this year because I'm really behind. I mean, this book has been really popular for quite a while now, and I need to get with the times and catch up. So I picked up Jade City and I'm excited to read it. So I will do a review at some point once I've read that book. And book number 12 is American Gods. It is the 10th anniversary edition. And I already have American Gods. I've already read it, but Neil's one of those that I don't mind collecting on Kindle as well as in paperback form because if I'm ever out and about and I only have my Kindle with me and I'm craving some Neil Gaiman, I could crank up some Neil Gaiman on my Kindle. Yeah, that's a distinct possibility there. So yeah, I snagged up American Gods, and that way I have it if I ever want to read it on Kindle in the future. The next book is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This was his first novel in the series for his sci-fi epic. I've heard mixed reviews on it, honestly, but it looks like it could be entertaining. And I'm not the kind of person that really has to have absolutely hardcore, like hard sci-fi. I don't mind softer sci-fi, and this seems kind of like, I think the first book is more YA, and so it's going to be softer on the sci-fi end of things. So that doesn't really bother me. I'm going to give it a shot, and if I don't like it, it's no loss. I don't have to read the other books in the series, but I really like Brandon Sanderson, so I wanted to make sure and at least give his sci-fi series a shot. And the next book is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. Now, I read this book probably a long time ago, when I was a kid. You've heard me talk about how I borrowed Agatha Christie books from my grandmother. I'm pretty sure I read Death on the Nile at some point, but I really wanted to read it again, and she's written so many books that I'm probably just going to focus on getting them on Kindle. And the movie version of Death on the Nile is being filmed, I believe, as we speak, so I want to make sure to reread the book before I watch the movie, because I enjoyed doing that with Murder on the Orient Express, and that worked out really well for me. So I'm going to read Death on the Nile and see what happens. Numbers 15 and 16 on this list are two books in a series, and that is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. Now, I've already read the 5th season, and so I picked up the other two books in the series, The Obelisk Gate and The Stone Sky. And I am planning on finishing that series this year. I thoroughly enjoyed the first book, so I'm really excited to see what happens in the next two books. And you'll see some reviews coming down the pike from me eventually for those as well. And I'll probably be doing a video on why you should read the Broken Earth trilogy. That's probably what I'll end up doing with that. So stay tuned for that. Number 17 is the Cthulhu Case books. It's kind of a noir detective meets H.P. Lovecraft, and the author's name, I believe, is Lovegrove. I've never heard of this author before. I've never heard of the series before, but I figured I'd check it out. I like Cthulhu. I like mysteries, especially Sherlock Holmesian type mysteries, and that's kind of the vibe I got when I read the blurb for this book. So I figured, yeah, why not? I'll give it a shot and see what it's like. I can't remember where I heard about it. It might have been on a BookTube video. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to check it out. Number 18 on this book is Before They Are Hanged. It is the second book in the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. And I am currently reading this book right now. I'm about 60% of the way through it, so I'm hoping to finish that soon and get on to the next book on the list, which is The Last Argument of Kings. So that is the final book in the First Law trilogy, and I'm very excited to see where the series goes because it is just a really, really good read. So you'll be hearing more from me about the First Law trilogy once I have finished it. But I did purchase both of those books to finish out that series on my Kindle just recently. Number 20 on this list is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, another book by Agatha Christie, and this is one I know for sure I have not read before, but it came highly recommended to me by a friend of mine, and I've been wanting to read it for a while, ever since they told me about it, and I'd heard of it before, of course. I've heard of most of Agatha Christie's books, so I figured I would check that one out. It was on sale, and that's how most of these came to be on my Kindle bookshelf, is they were on sale, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a deal. Oh, well, that's a deal. Oh, yeah, and that's a deal, too. Imagine that. Yeah, I get myself into real trouble doing that. Yeah, I know. You need to tell me to stop that. You can feel free to do that in the comments. But, if you don't, I'm just going to keep buying more books, and that could be a problem. But yeah, don't worry, it's not your fault. It's mine. Number 21 on this list is the first book in the Wild Card series. This is a series that is edited by George R. R. Martin and written by different authors that he enlists to write the series. I think it's a sci-fi series, and it's themed around poker, playing cards, and things like that. So it's always intrigued me, and I just never picked up any of the books. So I figured, I'll give it a shot and see what I think of it. And the final book on my Kindle book haul, number 22, is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I have only read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo so far. I have not read any of the other books in the Grishaverse, and I know Ninth House is outside the Grishaverse. It's a completely different world, or from what I understand it is, and it's much darker and much more for adults than the Grishaverse has been. So I'm pretty excited about this, and I've heard some really, really good reviews about it. I don't know much about it. I think it might revolve around vampires, but I could be wrong. But if that's the case, I love vampires. As long as you don't throw Twilight at me, I love vampires. And I'm pretty excited to check that book out. So that is it, my friends. That is the end of my Kindle book haul. Let me know in the comments, have you read any of these books? What do you think of them? Have you not heard of them before? And are you going to pick them up now that you've heard more about them? Are you going to go research them on Amazon? I've given you lots of little breadcrumbs to feast on, to send you to different places to buy new books, because that's what I'm here to do, right? I'm here to encourage you to read more books. But sometimes in order to read more books, you have to buy new books, or borrow them from the library at least. Maybe that's what I should be doing. Maybe I need to borrow books more instead of buying them on my Kindle or buying the physical copies. Yeah, maybe that would alleviate my problem. Or maybe not. I'm open to suggestions in the comments below. I'll be even happier if you tell me, no, Chaz, you don't really have a problem. It's okay. So that's it. I'm done with the Kindle book haul. Please interact with me in the comments. Stay tuned for future videos that I will be filming in the near future. And tomorrow I will be interviewed by Allie from Book Binge, and I'll leave a link to her channel down in the description below. And she's going to be talking to me about my book, and we'll probably end up talking about some booktube stuff and things like that. So I'm really excited to meet with her. So make sure you check out her channel and be subscribed to her channel as well, so that you can check out that interview with me whenever it pops up. And I will be filming some more videos for you in the near future. Until then, I'm Chaz, and I'm signing off. You guys have a great night, and please read more books.